After the recent Gloom MO with 4E Prime, when I went back to my Sisyphean feat of liberating Mortal, I noticed that the vast disparity in difficulty. Super Helldive bots really needs a similar touch-up like the bugs, since honestly, unless I'm doing something brain dead or partaking in the Helldive Automaton space program, I am really rarely ever dying. So what needs to change? Well, I think just a flavor style is we need to do the same switch up of major objectives and secondary objectives, with launching ICBMs and raise the flag being side objectives and LiDAR being the major objective, just as an example. Just like the Gloom bugs, however, I think we need to introduce more types of objectives. With the introduction of the ultimatum, it's made dealing with bot side objectives rather a non-issue, and even before with the 500 kg, it was already kind of a non-issue. Jammers, and especially detector towers, have never really been this super challenging objective people like to say to justify a nerf to the secondary. However, I think a good introduction would be side objectives only destroyed by hell bombs or mini nukes, since they share the same explosion. Something like a factory, possibly. A side or main objective that's basically a fabricator but on steroids, or a communication satellite array that can only be destroyed by hell bombs. These are just a few ways to introduce new types of simple objectives that also make it in a little bit more of an experience than just ultimatum and or 500 kg. On top of having these switch ups and objectives, and introduction of different units would be actually the switch up we need for automatons. I was actually on stream talking about this, but does anyone remember when the shredder tanks were glitched since it used the same turret as the anti-air objective? So they actually jammed our eagles. I feel things like this need to be brought back into the game and made features. Specific bots should do little like mini objectives that can alter the battlefield, besides just how much can I ragdoll you or how quick can I kill you. Adding, since the automatons are the powered artillery, more static faction compared to the swarm faction of the bugs you see, I don't see why we can't have stuff like jammer devastators. So you have just like a regular devastator with a miniaturized jammer on their back, and in a 15 to 20 meter radius around those bots, they act like a jammer. No stratagems, and it's just difficult in different ways. Since the automatons are an actual military with air support, tanks, I think adding a fabricator APC for them would be interesting. It would be equipped with those heavy turrets you can find on the outpost that aren't just like the machine guns, as its main job would be acting like a mobile fabricator that's constantly spawning in troopers and commissars. There are probably much more you can do, but I want us to start seeing difficulty being more than ragdolling and high damage one-shot stuff and spam. Not saying that's not a good thing or that that's what's only happening, but at least with the bots, it's not enough, especially on Super Helldive. We need to engage with difficulty a little more creatively, as well as buff some other things, like fortresses. A major issue, my major issue, with fortresses, even mega nests, but I want to focus on automatons, fortresses just feel like way too static, and just seem to be here is a heavier outpost that just ends up getting soloed by either putting an AT turret and sniping all the fabs, or a few orbital lasers and 500 kgs and it's done. Sometimes you don't even need to go in, which is no problem, but it just goes to show you how much of a non-issue the fortress is. How can we make it more impactful? I think fortresses should be an amalgamation of all or at least most objectives in a single outpost. So this fortress should be kind of like a real life base. It should have anti-air emplacements that negate the ability to throw a few 500 kgs and call it a day. Fortresses should have mortars that give it the ability to harass divers at around 160 meters. Honestly, there should be more than just one detector tower. Should be two, one on each side covering the entire base, with a jammer in the middle, which should be able to be broken by the ultimatum and 500 kg once turned off. Besides that, I think the current amount of turrets, fabricators, and bots is overall in a good place. Just add more side objectives in the base. This is a fortress. This is the peak of the automaton military industrial complex. Don't be scared to fill this with stuff any normal base would have, as well as all the side objectives and fabs should be required for the kill. It's weird to me you can destroy all the fabs and leave the detector tower up and it's considered destroyed. Fortresses should be massive efforts to take down, and its destruction should be total. That's what I would love to see when it comes to the automatons. They are my favorite faction to fight, But as I continue to dive, I just feel we can get more out of the faction when it comes to difficulty. Tell me what you guys think down below, as well as what are some of the ideas you might have for bots. Please leave a like as it helps the channel, and remember, if you're looking for a community to play Helldivers 2 with, join our Discord link in the description down below. Thank you all for your time.